Hi there. In this video we'll be covering, do you need a publisher to write a book? The publishing process can be a confusing one, but I'm happy to share some insights and help you on your way. By the end of this video you will learn the paths to publishing your book and why a traditional publisher isn't necessarily the best answer. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free resource I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. It's so common to think that you need a publisher and a publishing deal in order to share your message with the world and get your book published. And that is not the case anymore. Nowadays, it's so common for books to be self-published. Most of the books out today are self-published. Traditional books with agents and publishers do happen, and those are typically the books that you see in bookstores. But most books are not traditionally published. Most books are self-published. And with self-publishing, there's so much power for authors that we didn't have before. The ability to publish books on topics that might not have huge mainstream interest. The ability to write legacy projects. The ability to share our message and not have to worry about how big your platform is and your sales potential and your marketability. It's great to think about these things as you write your book and publish your book, but you don't need them. Self-publishing is a great resource for people, and it's lowered the gatekeeping. It's lowered the threshold to be able to publish, which is awesome, and it's helped to get so many messages out into the world, including potentially yours. There are some things you want to think about and some things I want to clear up before you end up self-publishing. Now, self-publishing has a lot of upside. There are some things that you won't have access to if you self-publish your book. For example, the New York Times bestseller list. They typically don't count self-published books toward the bestseller list and other bestseller lists. So you want to keep that in mind. The New York Times algorithm is very complex, but they typically focus only on self-published books. I've had ghostwriting clients of mine who've told me my goal was to be a New York Times best-selling author, and I had to break the news to them that, your book could be great and it could sell well, but unless it's published by one of the big 5 publishers, unless it follows a certain pattern, you're not going to be a New York Times bestseller. And that's okay. Another thing is bookstores, libraries, and other places where books appear. It's easier to find your book in those places if it's traditionally published. I've had books that have been traditionally published, and it's neat to see them in those places. It's neat to go out in the bookstore and see if you find your book in the wild. What does it look like on the shelf? What is it next to? Those are fun things. I, get a pen, find the pen somewhere and go sign a copy, not let anybody know, see if anybody ever finds it. It's fun. It's fun to be able to see that. When you self-publish your book, you can still find yourself in those places, but you might have to work harder. You might have to make calls yourself. A lot of times when books appear in bookstores in certain places, it's because the publisher had a conversation or because the chain knows that or the bookstore knows that it's very popular. But a lot of times there are hidden hands behind that process, kind of pushing down on the scale to make sure that the book is in the right places and appears in certain ways, like end cap agreements. There's a reason why certain books appear at the end of the row, or in a certain place. It's kind of like the grocery store, the same thing. Those are agreements that are made by publishers. It's not like somebody at the bookstore just magically said, this book is really good. No, there's people behind the scenes making those things happen. That's not going to be as likely if you're self-publishing, and you may need to make those calls yourself, to tell the local bookstore, hey, a local author, me, published a book. It should be there in the bookstore because people are going to be interested in it. So there's a conversation, there's a give and take to be had. So there are definitely advantages to traditional publishing. Traditional publishing typically opens more media opportunities, speaking engagements, and those sorts of things. But self-publishing has so much power to it, power that you can't even realize. By self-publishing a book, you could then drive tens of thousands of dollars worth of sales from clients that are finding your book and want to work with you. It could lead to new speaking engagements. It could lead to other opportunities. So there's so many things that are at the other side of that book. Bringing it forward is going to open so many doors for you. It's a great business card. Think about walking around the room and handing out your business card, and how many people even care about business cards anymore? I was recently at a networking event. People were using the phones to connect their contacts. and using QR codes and other things. And I felt like a dinosaur handing out my business card, but so be it. It's so much more powerful than that, even to say, here's a book. I wrote this book. A book is the ultimate business card, and self-publishing is a great way to get your book out into the world. Here's the beauty of self-publishing. Unless you're a book person, you're not going to know a book's self-published unless you're paying attention. All these little imprints, all these things that pop up, there's so many different paths to publication today. And if you get professionals to work on your book, no one's going to know that it's self-published. They're just going to see that it's published, and they're going to say, great job. And then there's your message, and there's your opportunity to share your message with the world. This idea that there's a less than because something's self-published, or that it's diminished in some way, it doesn't really carry weight for me. I think a great book is a great book, and it doesn't matter what path it took to publication. It just matters that it's been published. If you want to learn more about, do you need a publisher to write a book, I definitely want you to watch the next episode. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called How to Write a Book and Get It Published. In that episode, I talk all about book foundation work, some of my biggest writing tips, the paths to publication, and just the benefits that you can see from writing and publishing a book. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.